Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And what are we talking about this time? Patents. That's right. Good old patent. The thing that may or may not come to fruition, who knows? But patents are everywhere. So Sony has filed a patent for an autoplay game feature, which would allow AI to take the lead. So basically, the element could permit simulated intelligence to assume command over interactivity for players who prefer to watch than effectively partake. Rather than asking a companion or an accomplice to play a game, players may actually depend on man-made intelligence to dominate. Basically, asking the AI to play the game for you, essentially, like a task bot or something like that. The potential element lines up with a more extensive pattern of integrating simulated intelligence into plans of action, flagging a change in how games could be played from here on out. On the off chance that the development is remembered for impending control center like the PlayStation 5 Pro, it would utilize cloud information to adjust the interactivity to a player's style, permitting them to just relax and enjoy the moment of the moment the game works out. The new patent has been discussed online on Reddit, with players examining the advantages of such a component, particularly with the dreary undertaking of games like asset gatherings in Stardew Valley. I consider it to be a potential chance to partake in a game's story and vibe without participating in less engaging interactive components. Other users, however, express worry about games possibly turning out to be too simple, stressing that the autoplay component could eliminate the test and fulfillment of dominating a game. A few players review when expertise and dominance were crucial for gaming achievement. So again, this is all patent, but I get what they're saying, right? And I can see it for certain things, right? I mean, this has been around for a very long time in the form of macros, right? Having in games being able to, like, those games like RuneScape back in the day, or games, MMOs, where you have to do a lot of mining or fishing, or like even WoW and stuff like that. When you want to raise up a certain cap of doing something monotonous, uh, fishing in a game or something like that, or even New World, right? Like, I played a lot of New World, and the mining and stuff is fun and the fishing is, but I'm like, man, if I could just have something automated to just sit there and fish for me without me having to sit there and click the mouse and fish, that would be so much better. And that's what they're talking about with Stardew Valley. Games like that where you have to go and resource collect, sometimes in those games, while those games are fun, the resource collecting can sometimes become not a very fun and engaging part of the gameplay, right? When you have to go out and mine like 100 trees, or 50 stone blocks or whatever. Sometimes that can be a daunting task, especially when you're just wanting to build something simple and you're like, I got to get 100 of these things and stuff like that. So I can understand that, but I don't know. I mean, again, it's just a patent, so these things may not happen, but I could see something like this happening, where basically you just allow the computer, or you allow the PlayStation or Xbox or whatever to basically take over for you and play the game essentially for you. Um, for players, I could see that being a benefit for those players too that are maybe having a hard time on those really tough games, and they're having a hard time with a boss, but they want to continue the game. And maybe like the rest of the game for them is not too bad, but the boss battles, like on a Dark Souls or an Elden Ring or something like that, it's just too much for them to handle, and they just beat themselves against the wall 100 times over, and they're like, I just want to kill this thing, and, like, you know they either ask someone else to do it or they give up, those types of people. So to have something like an AI come in and beat the boss for you, yeah, you don't have that sense of accomplishment, but at the same time you can continue on, right, with the game or whatever. So I guess as long as it's an option, I don't really see a big problem with that. But Pat, what do you think of this autoplay feature?
I could see benefits upon benefits for this. I can see this being a huge benefit um, for the players that are handicapped that need like additional assistance or whatever, or maybe that controller modification setup they have doesn't quite meet the need of of this game, and AI can help assist with that. If, I can see a lot of access level, access for games opening up with something like this. Because there are games that I've enjoyed playing, but they just are difficult. Like, it took me a long time to get into Elden Ring. I struggled with it for a long time, for days, trying to figure out its mechanics, because it's not my typical style game. I'm not a Dark Souls game type person, but Elden Ring, something about that game just called to me. It was great. The exploration, the secrets, and everything was awesome. And I had fun with it, but it took me a lot to get into it. And I almost gave up multiple times. It took Nick coaching me into like learning these different mechanics to be able to go, okay, now I get it. And I love the crap out of it. And him and I ran a lot together. He'd help me out and I would jump in to help him out in some of his boss battles that he struggled with. Sometimes you just need two players, one person to distract the mob and run around like an idiot while the other person's beating the crap out of it. Right. I mean, that's really what ends up happening when you do those, is like somebody, because it usually can only target or focus on one person. Like, they have huge areas of effects, but typically you stay away from each other and one person's kiting them around while the other person's beating on them. And then once he gets that attention, then the other person goes in and beats on him while the other guy kites him, So there's things to do to make games easier. But could you imagine, the benefit or the accessibility that this brings to people that have a handicap that prevents them from playing one type of game or another, because of the accessibility options just aren't there, and AI can assist. I'm for that. I'm also for that, like Nick had mentioned, AI to assist in the boring tasks in the game. Like, I need to get my fishing up because I needed to unlock this or do that. And I'm like, can you just fish for me? I'll sit here and read something online or play on my phone or something to get past the time that I could do, rather than watching a bobber or something and waiting to click it. I could use some AI for that. I can also see AI filling a need of a fourth in a party. You have a 4-player co-op game. You're like, let's bring in an AI bot. A lot of games don't have, there'll be a co-op game and they don't have bots or anything like that. It's just you and friends. But let's say you want to go through the game with a companion all the time, and I can see them building this out to where it's just like an SDK type code, right? You're like, hey, we have this AI bot that we built that will play a game. It'll learn the game and play the game, and we can teach that AI model to play the game, and then we could sell you or license an SDK to use our bot in your game, and our AI bot will play the game, and like another player will. So I think that something like this has great potential. I can think of plenty of games where we have like 3 of us where we could just use another 4th player, or your buddies are gone playing something else and you're like, I really just wish I could play this game co-op. It's just a little bit difficult. I need the assistance of bringing somebody in to play along with me, or so it just doesn't feel so by yourself when you're playing this game. So I can see lots of uses for this, and what does it matter? Like, in a single player game or a 4-player co-op game, like, no, I'm not talking PvP. I'm talking like PvE exclusive games where it's co-op. I don't have a problem with this at all. No problem at all. Where this might be problematic is in your PvP games, right? Your Call of Duties and things like that. There just will never be a way to incorporate that in there without being somewhat cheating, right? I mean, there are a lot of accessibility tools and controllers out there that basically people use that don't need them. They use them to cheat because they have like aim assist or assist to help that player. They were designed for somebody that had an accessibility issue, and then somebody who didn't have one is like, this thing can improve my game performance. Let me use it. And they do. They use it to improve their game performance, because they either are too lazy to stick with the game, or they just, I don't like being griefers. I don't know. I don't like PvP. I'm not very good at it. And I know I'm not very good at it. So I try to stay away from those games. I don't feel like I want to cheat to go in there and make myself feel better about a game that I'm not good at. I'm not very good at PvP games. I don't like Call of Duty and Modern Warfare and all that stuff in the PvP aspect. Now, I played the zombies. And was that Call of Duty, I think? The zombie map. That was fun, but it was PvE pretty much, So I can see this being allowed everywhere PvE is, even in multiplayer PvE. but not PvP. Just impossible. You cannot. I mean, I think it should be allowed for people who have that need. They have an accessibility issue, but it's hard to police that stuff, right? You cannot say, well, only that person can use it because they've proven they're disabled or they have an accessibility issue and nobody else can. How do you police that? You can't really have somebody that just sits around and says, check, no, they're swiping left or swiping right. He wants it. No, he can't have it. He wants it. You can have it. Can't, no, and just swiping. You really can't have that. So I think that what they're going to be doing is banning that type of stuff in a multiplayer game, but in a single player or a co-op PvE game, it's free range. How people want to play their game is their call. If you want to play Helldivers and they import something like this into Helldivers and you use it and you heavily have the accessibility needs, cool. If you're just using it because you're not very good at Helldivers and you want to feel better about yourself, then I mean, whatever. It is what it is at that point. It's not like it's a PvP game. Now, there's a lot of competitive people out there like, I got 400 and some odd kills. How did you get 7, or whatever? How did you get 5 when you beat me in kills? And they may get mad about that or whatever. I could care less, about that stuff. And most people do too. Like, I imagine if the three of us who play Outdivers together pretty regularly could probably bring in a bot, we might try it, just see what it's like. You never know. It might be fun. That bot may suck, and the whole game he's just running around and running away from stuff, which is fine because he's being the bait and we're over here doing the other stuff, So I'm game for it. I see plenty of benefits for it. I can also see abuse for it, but I think abuse only comes into play in PvP games. If it's a PvE, I'm also one of those people who are like, hey, if you want to use a cheat code in your single player game, then whatever, that's on you. There are games out there that I've done that on. Like, I played Starfield till my heart's content, and then I wanted to build the biggest, baddest ship I could do. So I'm like, let me inject some cash in here so I can play around with the ship builder. And I spent days just playing around with the ship builder. Single player game. Do what you want to do. You're not hurting anybody. You're not taking away from your experience. Like, there's no way I was going to play Starfield enough to amass a huge amount of wealth so I can do what I did by loading up this cheat just to build a ship. And that's all I did with it. I'm like, cool, I loaded this in, enabled the menu, gave myself a crap ton of cash and went to a starport and just started building ships. I'm like, I like this. I can do this, do cool things with that. And that's more power to whoever wants to do that. But if you want to do that in a single player game, cool. And that's why I feel that this would be good for single player games. Play it how you want to play it. That's the whole point. What about you, Nick? Are you in favor for it, or do you think it's a bad idea?
No, I think it's primarily a good idea. And I agree with you on the PvE aspect of it, and I think accessibility as well, like you were saying, and for those people that have a hard time with certain games, right? I mean, like Dark Souls games. There are some people that really want to play these games, and they don't have a really big problem outside in the world, but it's when they get to the bosses or certain areas that they just struggle in. And yeah, you could always get good, as they say, as the kids say online, but sometimes they just need some help. So if they could call in AI to go and beat a boss or do something for them, and then they could continue on playing the game normally, right? And especially in a single player, I'm exactly with you on that. Like, if it's a single player game and you want to use cheats or game genies or game sharks or whatever, I don't care, right? It's a single player game. You do what you want to do. You want to do infinite bazooka ammo and GTA and the single player portion of it, go for it, man. Go crazy, right? I honestly don't care. Like, you can do all that stuff. I don't find it like to be abusive or cheating or anything like that. Like, I mean, it's cheating in the game, but I mean, again, it's a single player game. So it's like, it's your own game. You're not affecting anybody else. So do what you want to do in there. In this AI thing, if you wanted it to play the entire game for you, I guess you could do that too, right? I mean, that's kind of the aspect of it. But I mean, I don't see a lot of people using it for
just
that.
Watch a movie at that case. I guess you're playing choose your own adventure movie.
What does the bot do here? you know, I don't know if people would, I mean, there might be. I mean, like if I'm going to, the only time I watch people play games online, which I do watch people play games online on YouTube and stuff, but it's usually games that I know I'm never going to play, like ever. Right. I think the game looks cool and oh, cool. Like this YouTuber or streamer or whatever is playing it. And I like the streamer. I think they're a pretty cool person and they're playing this game. I'm never going to play that game in my life, right? Never going to touch it. So cool. I'll watch them play through it because I want to see what the game's like and kind of, experience what the game is, but I'll never pick that game up. Right. And and I know that. And those are the types of games that I'll watch. But, I like, I can understand people that have a negative look about, uh, fulfillment and dominating a game and stuff like that. And there are players like that, but the people have to remember that that's not everybody, right? Not everybody wants to be that person that can dominate a particular game or whatever the case may be. There's all sorts of types of gamers out there that have different ideas and skill levels and prerogatives when it comes to playing their game. So, if something like this helps them get that more of the fulfillment out of playing, even if the AI is helping them do certain things or play certain sections or whatever the case may be, then hey, more power to those individuals, right? So yeah, I think it's overall a good thing. But again, this is just a patent, so much like every other patent out there, it may or may not come to fruition. But as big as AI is blowing up, especially the buzzword of AI is blowing up everywhere in the industry. I could see something like this happening. Microsoft did something very similar to this with Copilot, but that was for another person to take another controller and kind of help you, like take it over. So they could introduce something like where instead of having someone else, it's AI that essentially takes over and not another person.
I have a business idea. We should come up with the gamer buddy. So it's using Copilot. When you're struggling with the game, you can pay a subscription fee or pay a fee to phone a buddy and they can play the second controller for you. It's just a remote service. I'll be your gaming buddy. You're struggling with that boss. Let me help you out here. I'll do
It's like a 1-800 hotline.
It's just a service added into the game console. It's like hire a gaming buddy. Hire a buddy. And you just use his Copilot. They'll play the second controller for you.
Like what is it? Like a dragon?
Yeah. Yeah. We won't be pound mates though. It'll just be something else.
Pound mates.
Yeah, because could you imagine a game service like that? You start out, you'd be like, this is this you just dial into it and you're like, hey, I'm struggling on this boss in whatever. I need somebody to help me. And you could just be like, I'll come in as a second player, or we'll do the Copilot thing, That's a game service for you right there.
Yeah, you have different people that are good at certain types of games, Dark Souls, sports games, racing games, whatever.
Yep. You got a monthly fee of like $15 to $20, and you get so many assists per month. And then if you just want one-time help, it's probably like $15. That way you don't have to pay the whole 20. But if you want like so many per month, then you pay the 15. Yeah. Or you buy a block of them. You can get 50 assists, and we'll give you a deal.
You get the pro membership. You get the pro membership. There you go. It's $50 though.
$50. Yeah, it gets you unlimited help. Or it gets you a buddy who will just pick up and play co-op with you whenever you want. You want to play Helldivers at 2:00 in the morning with a buddy?
Male or female, you get to pick.
That's the $100 plan if you want.
That's the $100 plan.
So
you get to see what they look like and everything like that.
They'll play with webcam
out of a magazine.
Play with webcam. I want to play with. All right.
R35.
Yeah. Input this code into your controller now.
It's got a keypad attachment. Yeah. Just dial it in.
And that person will join your game.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Got a whole service going on here.
Yep. It's like Fiverr for video games, right? Yeah.
It's like the Nintendo hotline back in the day.
Yeah, the Nintendo hotline. Yeah. Be like, how do I beat Ganon in this?
Yeah. I remember that. I think did I ever call them? I remember the number, but I remember it always like on the side of games. I don't know if I ever called them back in the day, but I remember writing to Nintendo about some game idea I had. I remember I got back a letter from Nintendo.
Yeah,
Which I was young
yeah, the
and
old Nintendo
stupid.
Power Hotline.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
You can call
yeah,
them. You can call them Monday through Saturday. I think it was. I don't think they were open on Sundays.
probably not. I gotta have one day off.
Yeah, that person sitting on their couch doing nothing, just getting paid to answer the phone. Oh, you're on this level. Look to the left. There's a fake wall there. You hit that with your sword, and you're good to go.
Right. Today you could remote in, right? You could
Yeah.
remote in and see what they're at. Because before you'd have to get like the description of where you're at.
But in this day and age, most things that are puzzly, everybody has a walkthrough online for it anymore.
Right.
Like
That's
within
true.
days or hours after that game comes out, there's already freaking wikis and how-tos and walkthroughs and everything else on it on the internet. So you're not gonna make any money that way. You're making money by jumping in and helping a fellow gamer out, beat the level, or just hang out.
Your pound mate.
It's your pound mate.
Call your pound mate. But yeah, this AI thing sounds pretty cool. So does the pound mates. I'm down for either one. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool idea. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll see something like this. I don't doubt it. Like this is a feature, a patent that I could really see coming to fruition. Not for just for Sony. So we're talking about Sony patenting this, but I could see Microsoft, Sony, and even possibly Nintendo utilizing something like this in the very near future, maybe even with the next iterations of their consoles and stuff. I think AI is going to be a very big, in what form of AI, I don't know, but a very big intertwined into the console space. I mean, because it's being intertwined into everything nowadays, right? So it's really boomed, and I could just see it coming into consoles and stuff like that, having AI companion. They've done that in the past, right? Cortana was around on the Xbox in the past and stuff, but people just, again, kind of ahead of their time with all that stuff. And now it's like the time where all that stuff is really kicking off and really taking over all aspects. Even Facebook has the Ask Meta button, Ask Meta AI icon when you're looking at Facebook posts and stuff like that, which was really cool. I actually used it the other day. I was the new Deadpool and Wolverine. They had the Cassandra. I think it was Cassandra, Professor X's sister. And I was like, "Who's that character?" And it said, "Ask Meta AI," and it took me out there and gave me a little synopsis of that character in the comics. I'm like, "Oh, that's who that is."
You're never gonna have to think for yourself again with AI.
No.
You just ask it a question. Hey, how do I make a peanut butter jelly sandwich? Well, first take the peanut butter, you wipe it on the counter, throw it on a little jelly, then you wipe it up with the bread. You never got to be, okay, a little unconventional, but AI said to do it.
Everyone's going to be stupid.
It's idiocracy, right? I don't know how to do anything anymore. We'll go down to the Costco.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's what we're headed for, pretty much. But you got anything else you want to say about this AI thing? All right. Well, let us know down in the comments below. What do you think of these autoplay game features? Basically, your AI buddy Poundmate coming in and helping you out on your game. Let us know what you think about that. Are you for it or against it? Do you see the benefits or the negatives? Let us know down in the comments below what you think. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Help us out. Do us a favor. Ask the AI. The AI will tell you to subscribe, which you should do. And then hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. If I can put my words out, that's why I need AI to speak for me. But otherwise, we'll see you next time.